Full screen is. Hey.
Yeah, there we go. So this was the first song I created with one reason.
Yeah.
Triplets. Triplets were new, and if you remember in this song in the interlude, dun 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 dun, I was so excited. Also my drums. I sort of made it a goal to make the drums as retarded as possible in this song. And you can hear them clipping too. Like right here they clip.
Jesus.
This game, like these audio editors were full of glitches. I still don't understand half of them. But just like, and it was song dependent too. Like whichever song slot you loaded up would have different glitches. What? It pissed me off. Like March on Zebes.
So you can't even like use them to your advantage because they're like,
yeah. When we get to March on Zebes and here, I'll point it out to you. There's this weird part. It messes up when the bass is going solo. The bass is solo and it sounds so fucked up and it pisses me off. And I tried to fix it so many times and I couldn't because it was like save file dependent.
Please, fire all drums.
The thing is, I don't think it charts it like that.
Really?
I didn't test it because you have to actually pass the song to get that. Like, there's no fail mode in Guitar Hero World Tour.
Yeah.
Like the Guitar Hero, it's dumb. There is a no fail mode in Guitar Hero 5.
Yeah.
And I use that to enhance. You'll see the video for Guitar Hero 5 is a lot nicer with a lot more detail and like individual tracks and stuff. In addition to the GHMix view. But with this, because there's no fail mode, I just didn't even bother. Because I would have to recorded them all individually, and it would have been a pain in the ass. So I think it actually hard limits them to 2. Or maybe not. Maybe I have tested it, and it doesn't matter. But I know if you go really fast in-game, like if you use 30-second notes, sometimes it just cuts it off. And you'll see that in Guitar Hero 5 too. It'll like cut it off to like random 16th notes from the selection, even on Expert.
Wow.
Which is really gross. I really like this breakdown because it's the last breakdown was only the guitar, and here it just starts like full backing instruments too.
Cool.
And I thought it was so cool for this. Also, what is this fucking guitar track right here? I mean drum track. I thought it was so fucking clever.
What?
Because I had the instrument slowly go out. I don't know. But also for this video, I didn't do it because I was too lazy. But normally whenever, I don't think I did it for Guitar Hero World Tour. It didn't look like it. But for this video, the reason why it's like separated like that was because, okay, wait. First I'm gonna point out that bass thing to you I was telling you about that pisses me off.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming very soon. The second one of these. What is that? It doesn't do that anymore. I don't know why it does that.
It's pretty strange.
Oh. And this is a remix, I forget who made it on VG Music, but I stole it entirely. It sounded really cool. It had those cool, like, down things. It was neat. I don't know. Another proof of, like, the versatility of the palm mute, because that was the palm mutes, which is one of the, like, you pretty much select an effect of, like, for each individual instrument, like what sound set you wanted to use, but the palm mute is like one additional thing you can use. So like each sound set has its own palm mute sound effects too. But anyway, for this video, normally when you view in GHMix, it's dependent, it changes the colors on the instrument to whatever. For some reason in this song, I was obsessed with like the pattern blue-green bass, and you'll see that a lot in the drum fills. I don't know why. It sounds really bad. But, so, if I were to have just filmed one screen, it would have shown the drums with the snare as being green.
Why?
Because it's mapped to the colors of the guitar. It's really dumb.
It's gross.
So, and just for in video editing, I don't know why I do that. Bass does it. Bass did it one more, like, weird clipping thing. This sounds so bad. It's accurate, but it's a transition to Crade.
I mean, that's how it's supposed to sound, right? It's not supposed to, like, sound pretty.
Yeah, but it sounds so bad. Like, it's also going, I feel like, just a tiny bit too slow, and you just want to be over so quickly.
Yes.
Also, you're going to see way more of that drum fill I was telling you about in a second.
Blast beats.
Oh, wait, not yet. It's really just double bass. Because double bass was introduced in Guitar Hero Metallica, so they were making a big thing of it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I had never played I've never played drums. So I was like, I'll just have everything be double bass. Because also, like, I mean, I charted some metal songs or whatever, and they have a lot of double bass. But yeah, each, here's the limitations. Like I said, limitations in an audio editor like this, they're what make it fun.
Of course.
And so the limitations, you can see the individual volumes of each note on drums there.
Yeah.
I think it's 0 to 100 in this game. I think it's 0 to 120 in the next game.
And you got some detail in there.
Here's the thing that pisses me off about this game, though, is you can't change it once a note has been placed down. And do you want to know what sets the volume?
Okay. How hard you hit it?
No.
Or what?
Because you can chart drums on your guitar.
Oh, okay.
It's the angle of your guitar.
Oh my god, that's the worst thing I've ever
I
heard
know,
in my
right?
entire life.
Also, this song, when I was filming, side note, I completely forgot it existed. I was like, what the fuck is SMGalaxy Medley? And then, like, it's apparently a song I did, and I sort of recognized it as I started playing it, but, like, I was like, what the fuck? So here are some of the limitations. Everything is ass in this game. You can't move notes. Like, Guitar Hero Mix 2.0 is a lot different, which initially I really hated, but it's so much nicer to work with, ultimately, I realize. So, keyboard has a huge selection of sounds, but I often went with this electronic one that sounds really terrible and ear-grating. I don't know why. It's so awful. But lead and keyboard have a 4-octave range. All of the ranges begin at E, because that's the lowest tune on guitar, but even for keyboard, the lowest is E.
Okay.
And the highest, I think, is not... It doesn't go full octave. I think the highest is like C sharp.
Okay.
In both games.
So
you
like
can,
almost 4.
Yeah,
okay.
Almost 4 octaves. And at least in the second one, they have these effects that you can add to individual notes so that it can go like a... It can have like bends in it. And so you can sort of, if it's going fast enough, like fake one that's like a half step or a full step higher or lower than that. But oftentimes you can't. So like if you have a metal song that's in drop D tuning, like you usually tune it up to E because like it's you can't do it. The main reason you can't do it though, bass is I think around 3 octaves, a little bit shorter than 3 octaves. But the one I fucking hate is rhythm. Because rhythm is 1 octave.
Whoa.
It has, it does these cool chords. Actually, I think these are just power chords. Oh, no, wait, no. No, they're actually major chords. They're major and minor and diminished and shit.
So
this sounds so bad, too, because in this specific section of Gusty Garden Galaxy, I tried to make...
have chords normally?
So your chords are always going to be like major, minor, diminished, blues, some scale chord.
Yeah.
But you can't have like multiple...
voice them?
You can't just pick 2 different notes. It's like it has to be a root note. And it's only on rhythm that you can do this. Every other track is just an individual note.
Oh, okay.
So
you can't have chords period. Oh, that's...
Yeah. And in rhythm, you can have like these full sounding like full guitar
chords,
strums, as well as power chords, which are basically just 1 note and sound really powerful. At least I think that's what they are in real life. That's what they are in this game, and that's what I learned. That's what they are in this game, is power chords are just like 1 note. Super Mario Galaxy, bro. This is the sequel to Bowser's Wrath. And it is the final boss music from Yoshi's Island. Also, side note, I did not realize when I made my name in this game, I was just gonna call myself Cheesecake Militia 2. Apparently some people thought that I was a different person from the original Cheesecake Militia. My screen name comes from this game, by the way, from Guitar Hero World Tour. Because that's where I decided it.
Yeah.
I was like, what's my online persona gonna be? And I decided there. Or did I decide when I made a GameFAQs account? Because I made a GameFAQs account before I forget. I think I made the GameFAQs account first, but it was like highly tied into like, this was my first online identity, was these games. And remaking it, I did not realize until someone pointed out to me years later that it wasn't Cheesecake Militia 2, but Ceasecake Militia 2. I did not realize that in full legitimacy. I never noticed. I like this from...
Grant.
Yeah, man.
That's funny as fuck.
Also,
I didn't even notice until
you can also clearly see, I haven't mentioned it, but you can see the character limit. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's 14 characters? Is that 6, 7, 8,
with that
9, 10,
satanic bass or rhythm.
8 plus 5 is 30. Yeah, it's 14 characters. So it's Bowser's Wrath 2 is the song title with no spaces.
Yeah.
And you'll sometimes see MDLY as an abbreviation for medley. There was SMGalaxy Medley.
Yeah.
So it looks like an SMG, I don't know. But yeah, rhythm goes from E. It does go more than a full octave. It goes all the way up to F sharp, I believe. F sharp.
Yeah.
But it was so limiting. It was such, like, you couldn't use rhythm for practically anything.
Oh, you can still just like get basic flavorful chords.
Kind of, but if it goes outside of that range,
Yeah.
like
Well,
if it goes from,
voice it differently.
if it goes from like,
can you invert chords?
no.
Oh. Okay.
So it's like if it goes from, if it goes from like say A to G and that's its range, you're fucked. You can't do that. Because you can't get to a G chord,
Jesus.
a higher G chord than an A chord. Like in certain songs it would work all right, and those songs I love doing because the rhythm is a really useful instrument. It sounds really good, but even if it was just 2 octaves, it would be so great. This is probably the shittiest song that I still have. This is the final boss music from...
Oh, from Crystal Shard.
Yeah. Also, this intro drum track is all wrong. I didn't realize that. Because I've never listened to the song. I just heard it was cool. I heard that the song itself was cool and didn't really listen to the actual song much because, like I said, this was before you could just like look up a song on YouTube, and I'm just a kid who had never heard a lot of shit. And I didn't even play this game. You played this game, and it was. I didn't even realize it was in Brawl because I didn't have it unlocked in Brawl at that point. But someone suggested it to me, and so I like looked up a MIDI of it, and I was like, I'll do this. Sure, this looks easy. And the MIDI I was using had somehow. The opening drum track is very distinctive in this song, and the opening MIDI that I used got it wrong, got the beat wrong. Like here it has this main one right, but it's something slightly funkier, I forget, in the intro, and it is not what I put here. Also, this song is way too long. It is a full 3 minutes, and it does like, I think a full, like, 3 cycles of the main theme, and it's terrible. And and you can see I was brushing up against the note limit with like 1100, and so you have moments like here where I just stopped doing hi-hat. I was like, listen to how edgy and different and sonic that is.
Yeah, like we can't afford hi-hats anymore.
Boys. Yeah, seriously, that's such a big problem.
Jeez.
And especially in Guitar Hero 5 where the note limit was technically lower, but you could have a higher one for an individual track, but all the tracks were shared.
Yeah.
You really had to like pull from like, oh, we don't really need these bass notes. We really, and I have a lot of songs that you'll see, because I'll have the counter on the screen, where there's just flat out nothing. There's flat out like nothing left. It says 5,000 out of 5,000 notes.
It just stops.
And like it is. I had to cut so much shit to get it right there, like, and I always cut the perfect amount. Like it was never like I was going to cut a section and have it go just under.
Yeah.
But if I was consistent in how I cut things, mostly because I think I wanted it to be like. I'm sure I worked towards that, but I don't know. It's still like really interesting to me. So I believe the 360 PS3 versions of GHMix 1.0 already had chords. Already had triplets, which was the main added feature of this one. I can't remember any other ones. The font's different because it's a Metallica game.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but they changed the main font to be the font in GH Tunes, where you actually browse other people's songs. They made it more. I want to describe that as monotype-ish, even though that's not a monotype font. It looks monotype-ish.
It does look. Yeah.
They made that monotype-ish, and then like all the ones on the bottom of the screen you'll see are these really gross custom, like, it's like...
Looks like straight out Project M.
Oh yeah, and this is Unreleased. So this is actually an interesting one. But yeah, it's something like that. It's like that they made specifically for this game, and it looks so bad, and it's on everything. Guitar Hero Metallica. I mean, actually, all the Guitar Hero games look hideous, really.
Yeah.
Especially when comparing to Rock Band, which has like a much more clean, stylized interface. The Guitar Hero games just look like they were made by hacks.
Why'd you name this Mario 64 melody?
Even though this is Banjo-Kazooie. It was original. Because it was unreleased and I was experimenting with things. You will eventually hear Marius. Actually, I think my plan for this song was originally. Oh my god, this. I eventually made that song sound semi-okay. The drums are all original in Guitar Hero 5, but I made that okay. This is Slider. This was originally supposed to be a medley of different games across the Nintendo 64. I just didn't bother renaming it. Because I never released it. I never had any intention of finishing it. I just lost interest in it. Because I thought that both songs sounded terrible. Like, this is a really bad Slider. And I think that's it. That's all there is to the song. Is there another unreleased song yet? No. This is my other, what's it? Excuse me. Power Glove.
Okay.
Mario Miners by Power Glove. This is by Power Glove. This is actually a really interesting song. Just to listen to. It's really cool. I think this was the one that finally topped as like my Guitar Hero World Tour / Guitar Hero Metallica era. This is, I think, my favorite one. It finally topped Paper Mario Medley, going all the way back to the last video. Like,
nice.
I do like it. I never remade it. Super Handicaps, who was like my bitter rival, because he came in at the tail end of the Guitar Hero Metallica era, and he was another composer, and he did a shit ton of songs on Guitar Hero 5. He made this with like, I mean, I had to cut a lot of content from it because it's only 3 minutes, so it like skips a verse and the solo.
You ripped off your stick?
I mean, I ripped off from a really good band. Like, he didn't get this idea from me. No, he always made a bunch of he just was so prolific in his output, and I hated him so much. If you look at my YouTube comment history, I'm sure I was just like a shitty person to him occasionally, because I was like always feeling like affronted. Like I was just a shitty kid. Even so, like, I don't know, something about this I like more. Like, something about the harshness of this guitar sound effect is really. It's good for some songs. In most cases, the Guitar Hero 5 sound effects are much better, even though they're not as good as the 360 PS3 ones. Still. This is a funky thing. This is a different theme entirely. It's from Sonic. I never played any Sonic games, but I know this is a different level theme from Sonic. It's like Sonic 2, some level. The original name of the song is So Sexy Robotnik, by the way. I just changed, like, that was the thing, all of my song titles were, like, slightly different if it was based off of, like, an actual band. Or eventually I stopped caring, but usually it was slightly different. So, like, it was Heavy Metal Mario instead of Mario Minor, because I didn't want, like, the people who were from Neversoft browsing and deleting songs that were explicitly supposed to be from other bands, even though I doubt they would have deleted, like, a Power Glove song in retrospect. I was paranoid about that. So, like, I usually name things that wouldn't be obvious, unless it was a medley, because medleys usually didn't get removed, so, like the most popular song usually was, for a while, was Ocarina Medley by Tapion 103. His name looked like Tampon, that's all I remember, but it was Tapion.
Yeah. Drums going ham, Nice.
This is another unreleased song. This is the third song, which I eventually remade in Guitar Hero 5, but this is based off of Power Glove's version of Tetris, actually. Although this was like only 48 seconds of it. The Guitar Hero 5 version is pretty cool too. Also, this is an original drum track. I made it more close to the actual song in Guitar Hero 5, but but another example of a song in which the old GHMix 1.0 actually turned out to be better for it was, I think it's actually arranged by Children of Bodom. The classical song Summer was part of the, like the Four Seasons suite by Vivaldi. They made a metal version of Summer, which Christian, it's a Swedish name. He came on game packs occasionally.
Cool.
His first song was Cannon Rock, which I was never a fan of, but it was always at the top.
Of course.
Because I didn't know. Oh, I also made Miserlou, by Dick Dale originally. It's just classic surfer rock song.
Of course,
and it's not like the Guitar Hero 2 version exactly, even though it's more like the actual recording of it.
Yeah.
Even though there are a million. But the one that has like the weird Do you know the weird keyboards in the background?
Oh, that sick organ.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's in here.
Cash.
And it sounds so bad. It sounds so bad in here. But he made Canon Rock, which I was never that big of a fan of. He also made, do you know the song God Knows? Only God Knows. It's an anime song.
Or by the Beach Boys?
No. Sorry. It's an like...
Fuck!
Shit. Okay, we're gonna pause. Unpause. So... It's gonna be a bitch to remember to edit in. What was it? I was gonna say... Oh! Crostogen... Something like... It's a song... I think it's called God Knows or something. It's from an anime. It's like...
anime?
I don't know. Like...
Oh.
He made that, but it got deleted. It got deleted by
Really?
by Neversoft for copyright infringement or whatever. What the fuck is this? And I think there was a video of it on YouTube back in the day, and it was really good. But he was like yeah, it's so random. But he had one song essentially from what I knew, and it was Canon Rock, and it was like number 4 of all time, and it was his only song. And then he posted on GameFAQs like, "Hey guys, I have another song. It's called Summer," and and I think that is still one of my favorite songs that I ever saw in GHMix 1.0.
Was it wonderful?
It was really good, and
Damn.
and the really shitty guitar sound effects actually worked really well for it. And then Super Handicaps remade it. He also remade Canon Rock because he was looking for popular shit.
Yeah.
This is Metal Militia by Metallica. I always tell people that, like, my name, like the Cheesecake Militia, the Militia part came from this song. That's actually not true. I just thought it sounded cool, and then someone asked me to make this song.
Cheesecake.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to spell. But anyway, Super Handicaps remade Summer, and it sounded so much worse to me. It sounded so much worse to me, and it was just the shitty sound effects of this game were much better suited to the song. It sounded like a lot harder and cooler. And this song is, I think, the last song on Metallica's first album. Yeah. I remember actually, Nigi Hyuga or whatever, that guy who recorded some videos for me at some point, I remember him recording this song and saying, "This song is actually pretty cool for an original song." And I remember he hated Metallica with a burning passion. He hated all their compositions and shit. Yeah. And he just complimented this thinking it was an original song by me. Because it's Metal Militia. Like, if you didn't know any better, you'd think this was an original song by me.
That's funny.
And then I pointed that out to him, and he was like, oh no. Well, I mean, it did sound really amateur, like, let's be real. It sounded like something that you would make, not like, a professional band that knows what the fuck they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
I swear, that one maneuver, that is like in every single Metallica solo. Because I've made a few Metallica songs. It's like in a different octave there, but like it's the same thing. Oh, it's a popular thing. This isn't the actual song. I don't know what this part is. It's weird. This was one of the rare cases of where rhythm actually worked really well. Like, rhythm can play along with lead here, and it barely fits. You're gonna hear it cut off at the end here. Rhythm will drop. Let's stop. But, like, it held it for most of the way. Because, I mean, this was a song that was actually in E tuning. I think, like, it was a while before I even learned, like, why the bottom note was E, and why it worked so well with most rock songs. But yeah, it's because, like, it's designed to remake rock songs, although they're going to, like, take your song down if it's supposed to be a rock song, which eventually they stopped. I've always been like, if I would love to remake this as, like, a service thing. Like, Tadpole Treble by Matthew Toronto, who made Brawl in the Family, is featuring a song creator, which,
You said QR codes, right? The way of the future.
Yeah, it uses QR codes to share songs. It's not a full online service like this was underneath Activision, but...
Just fuck that.
Yeah, I think this is the last song in the set.
Forest Metal.
So this is the forest theme from Super Mario RPG, which is famous for being, at least back in the day, one of like it was like commonly touted on the internet as being like one of the best like video game music songs ever made, you guys. And like Geno should totally be in Smash Bros. He's such a great character. And I'm like, Geno has, looking back, like no characterization in that game. He's incredibly boring. Like,
he's
like
cool
that's.
though.
I mean, he's cool, but he's a puppet. And he has, the main reason he's cool is because he has that attack that deals 999 damage.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever.
That guy's crazy.
And so this was my attempt at a metal song. A metal version of that song.
Fuck. Jesus.
It's so bad. It sounds kind of cool in certain moments. I really love the drums in the chorus. I don't know. Different drum track here. Double bass is all the rage. You're gonna... Oh, now like mini guitar solo. That's... At least it was in like the semi-right key. But like it suffers from the problem of charting a song in Guitar Hero, especially when you don't know the notes. It's like you have 5 notes, so you're going to pick between the 5 notes. Yeah. Also, you're gonna see what I mean with like double bass is everything. So shitty. But when you have 5 notes, and that's what Shredder Duel was. It was 5 actual notes, charted like what would be cool to play in Guitar Hero, and luckily turned it into something that was almost all right to listen to, which is what that solo was. It's like almost all right to listen to. Some of my later custom ventures actually sound like I sort of know like the first week of a music theory class, but barely. I also really like the ending of this song. Oh wait, we still have one more goddamn verse. The maximum, that was another thing that changed from World Tour to Metallica, was the maximum BPM. In World Tour it was 160, and this one it's 180.
Okay, so I gotta check this shit out.
Yeah, dude. I really love here when it just like drops and it's just that. Something about like beginning a song with that nothingness of one track and then ending it that way too. Oh, I forgot about this. My most famous song ever, I think. Oh, you'll see the drums. Well, I forgot that it was in the set list. I forgot that. I'm pretty sure it is the last. This is the actual last song in this of the Guitar Hero Metallica era. And this one I also made on a bet. It was with my good friend Ruler of Earth, who made some custom songs that were pretty alright from what I remember, and he recorded drum videos. Like, here's the other thing is like a lot of those people were all teenagers and they've since like removed all of it from their YouTube channel. Like I have a really good friend, Flame8765, and we still play Splatoon together. And I got to know him because he recorded a bunch of my customs. And I was like, dude, he still posts on YouTube. Yeah. But I was like, dude, what happened to all your Guitar Hero videos? And he was like, oh, I deleted them. And I was like, damn it! I'm trying to get a repository here. I'm still begging him for those videos, seeing if he can find them on one of his older computers, but... Because I know he has some videos of some songs that are still lost. Like in the beginning of the World Tour video, it said "in memoriam" of these songs. Because some of them I have videos of, but most I don't.
Oh, what a shame.
This is some Mute City. But yeah, this was number 2. It was number 1 at one point, but it's largely stayed behind Guitar versus Piano. And I think probably when the service ended, it was like Guitar versus Piano. Actually, some songs probably superseded this. This is the shittiest song in this medley. It's Gourmet Race, and I remember the lead guitar being charted really poorly. Like, people complained to me about that. And I was like, it's the best you can do with this song. It's really bad. And then someone pointed out an actual good chart for it. And I was like, oh, I guess you're right. It's really bad, but then we have Star Fox, so it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I made this... I had an idea, like, you know, I've had the idea of making medleys of, like Nintendo 64 songs, or like songs in Paper Mario or something, but never just like a medley of Nintendo songs in general. Like, wouldn't that be cool? So I was like spitballing this idea with my friend Rule of Earth, and he was like, why don't like we collaborate on a medley? Like, you do one part, I do one part, and then we realized like that's actually too hard to like you make a song and then I'll remake your portion of the song in my save file. So oftentimes this is how it would chart drums eventually. It's just like the bass beat, like actual like bass guitar would determine the whole beat between bass and snare. So you'll see that is pretty much how it continues for the rest of all of Guitar Hero 5. But we had a bet, and he made one and I made one. I finished mine first, and it rocketed to the top of the charts. And he released his, and it was also cool. But we fade.
Damn.